Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 1, Crystal Palace 1. Goodison Park last night, joined by Patrick Ridge, journalist in the studio with me and Ped. Lads, it was a very, very frustrating night at Goodison Park. And for me, even though we were behind in the game, it feels like 2 points dropped. Big opportunity, team with no manager and with 4 of the best players missing. And Everton didn't have or do enough to win the game.
Yeah, I can't really say it better myself. Not really got much more than that. It's these games that we build up again has been must win, but we just can't seem to get over the line in them. And it happened again, like it happened the season before last. It happened last season as well to an extent. And then we finally do get over the line when it really matters. But there's only so far that can be pushed. And obviously there's other circumstances this year that change that. But away from that, if we hadn't got the points deduction, who'd known if we'd have gone on that run in December? Like it's all different now, isn't it? So just you can't keep all season. We just looked like we passed up these great opportunities. And all it starts to say is that this manager unfortunately can't win those kind of games at home. Because the evidence is there, isn't it? The proof's in the pudding. He can't do it. And, now we need to go to... You've got Brighton away on Saturday. And the weird thing is I'm probably more confident about that. I'm not saying I'm insanely confident, but more confident about that than I was last night. And that's mad. That's insane that's how you think. But we just seem better set up to play those type of games than last night.
I mean, Ped, the home form is the huge worry, isn't it? It's 3 home wins all season. It's March next time we run out at Goodison Park. And that's really, with 10 points aside, it's really the fact that we've been so poor at Goodison is the reason why we're not more comfortable in our position right now, isn't it? Because away form's been quite good. It's just the home form as we continue to miss opportunities at home.
Yeah, we're dreadful in possession, and that's the top and bottom of it, isn't it? We are when the onus is on us to go and win a game, to have to dominate, have to have possession, have to break teams down. We're horrendous. Last night, what did we have? 63% possession, something like that.
20% too much.
And yeah, exactly, because 25. Palace said come and break us down, and we couldn't. We just couldn't break them down. And the worry is the games we've got coming up, we're going to have to do that in most of them. Yeah. Bar Liverpool and maybe bar West Ham. That's our biggest issue, is that we just don't have that creative spark. And I think the team that the manager started last night was woeful in terms of what you've got on the bench compared to what you've got on the pitch. And he didn't help that. You've got to play your most progressive players, and the manager's set up to have to defend, which was dead weird. That you've got to have a touch of bravery if you're going to win home games. And fans know that. Fans are not stupid. They know the position we're in, but they also know that we've got better players sitting on the bench than we've got in the team. Certainly for last night. I thought the manager balled it last night. The decision not to drop either Jesse Garner, Gale or James Garner.
That was a big one for me.
Think he absolutely bottled it last night. Yep. I don't think he knew which one to drop, so decided not to drop either, because Onana can just go, I'll leave him out because he's coming back from injury.
And he used that excuse as well afterwards. He said he wasn't quite fit. He'd been out for a week.
Bollocks.
He just happened to miss. He played against Luton in the cup. He was only back for City, so max that he had out was 10 days. Yeah. And it just happened that in those 10 days he missed 2 games, so it almost feels like longer, but it wasn't like a serious injury. And I just, I said earlier, the destiny in those type of games, you need an Anna in there. And I fully agree with Ped, and you said it on last night as well. It was just it was almost like when Tom Davies would be the easy sub. Yeah. It was like, well, and I think for a lot of fans, it's almost a Nana and one other, or a Idrissa Gana Gueye and one other. For a lot of fans, I think for the manager, it's James Garner and one other. James Garner started every game this season, but apart from one, I think maybe the Arsenal game. So,
yeah, I mean, I you see the team and you see no Jack Harrison in there as well, which is another one I don't understand. I know that some people have an issue, I don't know why, have an issue with him, but he's the only one of our wide players that runs towards the opposition's goal. So to see him and Onana out in what was a must-win was a real surprise for me. And, you know, the manager, I get it, it's like a difficult decision. You've got James Garner and you've got Idrissa Gana Gueye. And both did well against Spurs, but then at City, he brought Onana on to try and get a little bit of control in midfield because we just didn't have any from those two. And as it happened, Idrissa was probably the best player on the pitch until he got taken off in terms of for Everton, certainly. I mean, I thought Wharton had a good game for them. But the Harrison one, I just don't get. I don't understand why he took him out, because Ashley Young, that set-up last night, I would have understood that at Brighton at the weekend with the two wide players, where it's like, we know we've got to defend a bit more and we'll sit deeper and then let the Corey join Dom and then Harrison is a sub or whatever. But at home, when you've got to take the impetus right from the start and get at them. And Everton come out flat to me. The whole first 15 minutes was as bad as it can get. It was just, the crowd were quiet, but how can they keep going to the well? You know, you see a team and you know that a lot of our fans would have gone, why isn't Onana playing, or why isn't, you know?
There's just nothing to get excited about, is there? I said that last time I came in, like, because I'd, you know, been at Goodison for the Luton game as well, and there's just nothing to get up for, and that's not necessarily... It isn't Dyche's fault that there's all the off-field stuff.
No, not at all.
And that's all wearing everybody down, isn't it? It's everything on top of everything, and kicking 777 stories, you know, the points deduction, will we get it back? Will we face another points deduction? The players being dragged into a relegation scrap that they don't feel like they deserve and everything like that. I totally get it, but then the manager's style of play, we know what we're going to get, and we know that there's no excitement to it. It's going to be attritional. So it's very hard to get yourself up for games. And then I think on top of that, everyone thought deep down yesterday, this is, if we one of them again, if we win this, we can just drag ourselves clear and drag other teams into it, and then maybe the points on top of that come back and we could be out of it. But that comes with this expectation then. So I did see a lot of people saying that Goodison felt nervous and edgy, but it's too much of a convenient excuse for me, because we've seen those performances when there wasn't the weight of the world on the shoulders as well.
I mean, sat there last night, it was quiet. I don't know whether I felt edgy, but I think you sat there as a fan and you, like, I have this thing, like, where we are, I'm still expecting him to send them out with intensity, be fired up for that one last night. That to me was one of those moments where maybe this is just gone and we'll never get it back. But like, if I think to like a David Moyes type team against a team like that, where there's a little bit of a vulnerability about them, which there was. No manager, 4 players out in terrible form. I would have thought, like, use Goodison to your advantage, get out the first 15, get them turning, get the pressure on them, make them panicky a little bit and see what they've got. And if we just come out and it was just so slow.
What I don't get about the whole thing is like, you turn up as a fan and I think you know what you're going to get. But I don't think anyone is like I referenced it last night. It's like, you look at the Luton situation and you see how they've turned, you know, all the negativity about them in terms of style of play and coming up, and they're going to go back down, and they turned it all into positives. It's like, it is, they look at it and it is them against the world. They've got a chance because of our points deduction, and they, you know, and maybe Forest gets points as well. It'll all add on, and it's. And they've put themselves in a great position. But every game they go into, you can see that connection. I think it was there when we got the points deduction, and it was like, it is us against the world. But you're right. Like, if that's the case, like, you can play a style of play, but you've got to back it up with an intensity. You've got to say, we're going to go playing long, but we're also going to have runners going past them, and we're going to be up and down the pitch. I just think you look at that team and you think, well, we know what's he setting up for here, because he's basically setting up to be defensive. He's put 2 defensive midfielders in, and the Corey who's not fit, and then you've got a defensive right hand side, and where's the intensity? Where's the like communicating to the fan base? It's us against the world. We're gonna have a right go at these, and you turn up on a Monday night and you're just like, everyone feels the same. I don't get I've seen James Garner come out and say it's harsh that fans were booing or whatever, but is it really? Because it's not. it's not a case of like rubbish football is just the way it is at the moment. So you know what we're going to get. But where's the intensity that goes with it? Where's the desire to win the first ball and put us on the front foot? There was a couple of moments last night. I think the game had been a bit of a lull. And the ball had gone long, and Don dropped in, and he ran from the main stand side to the bowling stand and nicked the ball and then give it. And it was almost like him saying, "That's what we need.
What it is,
That's what we need. That little 10-yard burst to get everything to what you're just letting the ball come back and go again, and there's not enough of that. And you can understand why fans are just bored. The footy is like, I'm not sitting here jumping on Dyche about having a go at Dyche, but the footy's terrible.
It's dreadful.
Like, it's terrible. It's proper the worst like I've seen for a long time. Like, it's Allardyce style football. So if you play that kind of football, it needs to be winning football and it needs to be intense. It's like, it's dross. I think, like, anyone who defends him, like, you can defend him for what he's done and the points he's won. Yeah. But you can't defend him for the football. It's dreadful. Really, really poor.
Because I said this on the live earlier, and maybe the points deductions kind of blur the lines, but it doesn't feel like it needs to be that bad at home. Like, there's more in this squad, and I think I do think Dyche is a smart enough person to know that that's what's needed. It's just like he doesn't know how to get there, and whether that's lack of coaching, like an inexperience in that side of it, the possession side of it. But I go back to that Doncaster game in August, and we're outplayed by the worst team in the Football League in the first half because we had to have the ball, and there's been nothing since then. I could understand last season having to just grind through, and weirdly enough, last season I think Dyche came in, tried to sort the defence out, realised he couldn't sort the defence out because he went to Michael Keane, and then for some reason didn't play Mina until later in the season, whatever that was. But like almost thought, right, I need to just find a way to get goals, so we're going to go just direct, and it worked. But this season, it's like the more we've got at home, the more we've got into the Dyche way of doing it. It's so dull. And like I said, if you then need the crowd to get you up for it, the crowd are coming knowing they're not going to get anything from it. And I was kind of last night before the game, I could see the sense in having Jack Harrison to come on and add something. It's nice to have an attacking change, because how many times have we looked at the bench and thought, what can we do here? There's nothing. But on the flip side, you'd then in practice have to get through an hour of Ashley Young playing right mid against Crystal Palace at home, like in a 6-pointer. It's like, in theory, it's great.
Centre back playing right back.
And it's almost like, do you know what? Like, it might have even made more sense last night, and I wouldn't have wanted to see it. But if you really wanted to have Harrison coming on, put James Garner at right mid again, like he used to do early in the season, if that's the thing, because Young, I mean, there was that point where Decore tried to put him through, and I don't think Harrison would have got there necessarily, but it was just sad watching Young. And then not long after that, he did one where he should have won the ball. There was a loose touch. He was favourite to get it. He's literally 2 yards away. He doesn't get it because he's not quick enough, and then he's just slowly tumbles over and fouls the Crystal Palace player. And it's just like, it was just a bit sad, and then not to change it at all at half time.
There was also one in the first half where he had the ball over on the right hand side, and he was like looking to see who was coming. There was a big gap ahead of him, and he looked to see if like who was behind him, and by the time he got his head up, someone had come and took it instead. He'd have just got his head down and gone.
Don't blame Ashley Young. He's 39 in
No, and the problem with that is, in that moment as well, Ben Godfrey had started going down past him, and when he lost the ball, there was no big space at right back. There was no one there.
It was just, we've got a left side that's got no pace in it. Michalenko's not quick, and McNeil.
He can carry the ball, but
carries it well, but he can't run.
Can't run.
And there was one in the first half again. It was below me where we broke over the halfway line, and he's raiding, and he stopped and turned back, and we were on the attack, and there was nothing ahead of him, and he turned back and come back inside, and it was like, the crowd went off their head because there was 30 yards for him to run into.
And you look at the goal he scored against Newcastle when he just got his head down and run and hit it like...
You know you can do it. So why aren't you travelling with that ball to the edge of the box? And I know, listen, I'm quite sure Dyche didn't say, you know, if you get played through, run and then stop and come back. I'm sure the manager, or Bone or Stone, that's not the instruction. No. But I don't get when we've got two slow players on either wing what we're trying to achieve. Tarkowski's switching it with some great switches. But by the time you get hold of it and get it down, they've recovered anyway.
The movement's so bad.
The movement's bad.
It's awful, and that's not... I know there's a lot that you need pace, and I get that, but the movement off the ball is so bad. It's so static. It is all... They wait for it. No one's proactive, and that runs from the entire team. It runs from the management with his subs, which was always said. He's not a proactive manager. The players aren't proactive on the pitch. They don't make... Dyche talks rightly about making things happen. You know, like, we've got to make it happen with matching the goals up to the XG and everything like that. That's fine, but on the pitch they don't look like they know how to make it happen. They don't look, and that's why you've got to get hold of them. And it means at half time you've got to be proactive. Even in the sense of, you don't have to say, you know, you don't have to necessarily be taking them off because they've had an awful game. It's because we've done 45 minutes now. We know what the game's in its rhythm. Palace didn't do anything in the first half, apart from when we gave them the ball. We didn't really do anything. But it's like, well, we can get them here. Jack, you've had your 45 minutes. Come on at half time. Or mainly Onana. Let's get hold of the ball in midfield. Let's maybe give James Garner 10 to 15 minutes out on the right, and then we'll switch it up with Harrison coming on. If you really want to give Harrison an hour's rest.
Nothing really. I mean, the first half we had Dom had the header, which
he should get on target.
He should really hit the target, but he's still a run and jump, isn't it? It can, you know, you want that to just glide off your head and into the corner, but he caught it too square and headed it wide. We had a free kick in a good position and James Garner put it over.
Yeah.
The Corey had a volley that dropped to him, but he put it wide. And that was really it. Their goalkeeper wasn't tested, really, any notes.
At all.
And the only thing they had, it's quite a thing, but Ashley Young kicked one off the line off a I think it was a corner. And that was it. They offered very little. They had a couple of moments where they cut through us dead easy, for the simple reason that they just moved quickly. They just touched it and moved, and therefore we were like, what? And then, you know, their finishing was poor. And I did get to half time, and I thought he won't be happy here because he was. You could see him on the touchline waving his. I thought there'll be changes here because he'll be furious with that because it's flat. And we come out with the. I mean, were you surprised?
I was massively surprised because I didn't think it was that bad. I know we're used to not seeing him make changes, but I thought it was that bad that I thought he had to make, because the changes were obvious as well. Onana to come on and grab hold of the ball because it was just bouncing around like a pinball machine. Him to get hold of the game, and Jack Harrison, because like you said, there was like moments where Ashley Young was just labouring around and
looking like a 38-year-old.
Yeah, and you just think to yourself, it can't really get any worse. So introduce these players who you know are good players. They're better than... It's not like you're saying, I'll bring Dobbin on or something like that. You know these are going to improve the way we're playing. And you know, like 45 minutes for Onana will be good. You've had the half an hour, you've had the first half, to feel out the game and see where it is now. And that's where he just massively undermines anything he does well with his tactics or how he set up the defence. The defence is fine, it works. We know it works, one of the best defences in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But you have to score, and you have to have other ways of scoring rather than just set pieces. And I just think if Onana had come on and we'd just settled down and we'd got hold of the ball, then we would have started making a few chances rather than just going long all the time. And maybe that's why he doesn't mind not having Onana, because his tactic is to go long. So it's almost like, well, we need two players to win the ball back and get on the ball.
That works for some games, but then in games like this at home,
where you need,
just absolutely doesn't work.
Where you've got possession, and the fans are just so frustrated. Fans aren't sitting there going, we're too snobby for this kind of football. What they're frustrated by is when we get on the ball, how quickly we give it back to the opposition. And I think someone like Onana, he's going to get on the... He just makes... The simplicity of what he does maybe goes over some people's heads when they're watching the game, because they like the amount of people who say he's rubbish and all this and the other. I don't understand it. But it's a simplicity of how easily he takes the ball and moves it and then gets it back.
I think people expect the world of him, and I don't know why, because what he does well, he does really well.
But what he does is he stops centre backs from playing diagonals, because he takes the ball off them, and then because what's great, because where our centre backs were last night and was so high, you look at the heat maps, they're practically on the halfway line. Tarky had 100 touches. So if he's taking the ball and they're not playing diagonals, think of all the space then he's got to pick those passes. And because he gets it so well and receives it so well, he makes it look easy. And I think that side of the game makes people go, he's not really doing anything, but he is though, because he's dictating the tempo of how.
My thing as well is just the sheer size of him.
Yeah.
6'5", and in a game like that, because they've got big players, you think, well,
if set pieces are going to be your main thing to goal, get your biggest players on it.
but it's just,
and I think maybe that's why James Garner is kind of a shoo-in at the minute, because he's the right-footed set piece taker. But if that's going to be the case, then you've got to fight.
Let's be
special
honest.
teams.
That's why Dwight McNeil stayed on.
yeah.
Dwight McNeil had a terrible game last night. Although his stats, he created like 3 opportunities.
But that's the thing. But he's the only player that everything was going through him until Harrison came on. And Harrison put in a few really good deliveries with his right foot. It's weird with Harrison. His right foot crosses actually always seem to be the
more
best ones.
accurate, because he's cutting back into curler, isn't he? In with his left.
But I think McNeil was awful last night. But he did put in 3 really good crosses.
Yeah, well, Dom should have scored one of them in the second half. It was a great ball. And that again, to me, is another question mark. And I don't think any of us... There's this thing with some fans, I think, where if you say, like, the footy we play is rubbish, they go, well, what do you want? Like, 800 passes, no one like Martin. It's like, there doesn't have to be one or the other.
No,
no one's
There's
saying...
a lot of middle ground. And
like, Sean Dyche, since he come in, has done a brilliant job away from home. I think Everton have been really competitive away from home in what they do, and they seem to understand that system really well. 4-4-1-1, and Duke's just playing off Dom, and we're nice and compact, and like Pez just said, we've got the 4th best defence in the Premier League, I think it is. But the real issue is the home form and the way we play. The way we play, we've got to create it doesn't have to be like massively different to what we're doing, but what we do have to do is have our fullbacks going beyond our wide plays. We've got to, because we've got to create overloads. We've got to create 1-2s which get you in behind, and we've got to put balls into the box and get people in the box. Because Goodison, when you create that intensity, is an unsettling place for teams, and that's always won us points. And yet, I know the last few years our home form hasn't been very good, and it kind of started with COVID, really. That was when it really started being poor. I know Marco, he was a little bit hit and miss, but we did win home games with Silver. We beat a lot of good teams with Silver at Goodison. And obviously, COVID coming, we were dreadful. We were great away and dreadful at Goodison. There was no fans there. And we haven't really picked that back up.
No.
The home form, you know, Moyes had it really good. And Martinez, in fact, probably Martinez started the thing for the first bit of like us not winning a lot of home games. Last season we lost a few, but then Koeman got it back on track. But it has been in decline a little bit. But I just don't think the managers have played into the crowd enough. I think Lampard added a little bit, but then seemed to lose it with the way we played. Benitez wanted it, but then the fans couldn't really, because it wasn't great football. The Watford game was done. But I don't think Dyche has been able to do it on enough occasions. And all it is tempo, really. I think we don't... I don't think so. I don't think we sit there and moan if we're a bit direct.
No.
But we moan if it's slow and it's flat. And I just watched us last night turn back so many times and go back to our goal or back to our centre back.
What we've got into the habit of doing, especially in these kind of home games, is we play this direct long ball route one football, but we do it at the pace of a Roberto Martinez possession-based team. So we knock it around uselessly at the back, and then just try long ball or diagonal. Now, the first 2 times Pickford did it last night, Dom nearly gets in on the first one. I actually think he maybe should have tried to just stretch, but I can understand why. Literally a minute later, Pickford picks out McNeil, and it's an incredible. And that is like, no one minds. That's fine. Like, happy to mix it up.
That can't be the tactic, though,
but it's the only tactic. And like, once teams have realised, all Palace did, well, we'll just stand back 10 yards.
Yeah, they just drop back.
And then we're having to try and hit Ashley Young, who, like I said, was just a bit sad watching him. So,
I mean, we come out the second half and. Again, I thought there'd be intensity, like no changes, there'll be intensity. There wasn't, you know. And we get to the stage, we had one glorious chance before he made the changes, didn't we? And it was the corner coming, wasn't it? And Tarkowski headed, Johnston made the save.
Yeah.
This is Garner gay hit it deflected up.
Yeah.
The Corey's got to score.
And before that, we'd had the one where Dom, who I think actually played all right overall, kind of. He took matters into his own hand by taking it in the middle, running down the length of the pitch, down the main side, and then cutting it back. And James Garner had the shot over as well.
Blazed
so like,
over,
that before that there'd been nothing.
But the Corey one,
the Corey one's the massive one.
The goal, it's an open goal. You just got to steer it in. The keeper's out of position because the deflections took him out the game.
The replays as well. He's actually calling for it from Garner, who I don't think means to put it there.
No,
but he's going like that.
Yeah.
He's hit it, and it's come to him. And I don't like. He's just got that split-second decision making. He tries to just do that. He should just sweep it in. Like if he just reacts and sweeps
if he
it in,
reacts,
right
it's a goal. Because Johnston, it was similar. Day one with the Corey with the Fulham. It was a Fulham, no Wolves, wasn't it? The Darmadetta when he should score. And
it sort of spins off his foot.
Yeah.
And it goes back
to the keeper then
because Godfrey nearly gets on the end of that.
He almost deads it in, and then obviously we make the changes, and within 10-15 seconds of the changes coming on,
predictably
Palace score. You know, a ball down. I think Branthwaite should do a bit better.
Yeah,
allows Mateta to pull it down. And then Onana, I mean, ironically, he took Gay off, who I thought was excellent. Probably would have gone and swept that up in front of Branthwaite. And Onana gets a throw in.
It just makes
and
it
it
worse.
goes back to Ayew, and we don't get out to Ayew, and he smashes it in, and he probably won't score another one like that in the Prem, but it flies into the net, and here we go again, one down, chasing the game at Goodison, and they hadn't done much, but they were ahead, and it's like, Pickford made the save, which was a good save. He was out quickly. I don't think he'd have gone in from Mitchell anyway. I don't think he'd have scored because we had a couple of players behind Pickford, but
and that came from Tarkowski messing about a bit, didn't it?
But again, with them, we're having to chase the game again.
It's pathetic. But that's the intensity. Go back to what you said before about the crowd. It's like, I've seen a lot again. We always have this debate as fans again, the atmosphere, and what's our role in this? What's our job as fans? Should we, and then, as I said before, James Garner's coming out saying, well, it's not great if the atmosphere is like moody or whatever and booing or whatever, but the way we play is like, it just doesn't play a part.
There's no inspiration, is there?
And I think the big problem is, you reeled off all those managers there, and the same with Dyche. Like Dyche seems like a sound person. Don't get me wrong, and I find them sometimes, like last season he grated on me a bit, but I understand what he's trying to do, and I understand, and he's honest, and I like honesty. I have no problem. I prefer that to absolute bullshit at certain people. But I also get the feeling that it's just a fucking part-time job for him. I get the feeling it's like it's a travelling show, and he'll move on to the next job when he's done this one. Like, I don't feel like, this might just be me, but I don't feel like by the way, I don't want him to save up the Lampard-esque nonsense of like, I get the fans and all that kind of thing. But I just feel at times it's like, you've got to buy in a bit more to the whole thing. And what I mean by this is, and it might be natural for him, but like after the Merseyside derby, when clearly they should have had a player sent off, for me, if you're going to buy into us, you have to go in there and be like, this is a fucking disgrace. What's happened here is criminal. But it's not, it's like, right, you know what you're going to get and all this kind of thing. And I get that, that's his personality. But I think sometimes you have to lean into the fan base, and you have to understand where we're coming from, and not they're amazing and they're always with us, because that's bollocks as well. That's not true either. A lot of the times we're not with you, mate. A lot of the time we're not with it. That's just the reality. That is the reality. We didn't sing a song last night till after we'd scored. That is the reality of the situation, and that's not because we're bad fans or we're not trying to. That's because we're sitting here and we're bored off our tits. We're getting messages telling us to sit down in the Gladys Street. I fucking love to sit down in the Gladys Street. I would absolutely. A lot of people would love to, but they don't feel like they can. I think you have to lean into the fan base at times and say, what do these fans want? What have Everton fans always wanted? You hit the word before, intensity. Intensity is all we want. A tempo, a playing style. If we're going long, but we're doing it in a tempo. We're getting the ball and we're going. and we've got runners. Lean into what the fan base is all about. To me at times, and again, I'm not having a go with the fella, but I just feel like he's just like, he's living, to me, him and Wone are living out of a suitcase in a flat. And that's that, do you know what I mean? And it's almost
Feels,
like there's no, like, it's almost like, I'm doing this job.
So this is what you get.
I'm doing this job, and when I've done this job, I'll move on. And we're not sitting in any roots down to like playing a certain way. We're just doing the job. The job is to get Everton the points so they don't go down. Fine, I appreciate that. I do understand that. But I do think you have to buy into the football club a little bit more and buy into the fan base. And I just think it might just be his personality, and this might just be me. But I'm sure other people feel like this. I'm sure other people feel like that it's... The football doesn't suit us as a fan base. It doesn't, because we ask for intensity. We don't ask for passing football that has 80 million passes. We ask for something in between. We ask for players to play hard but smart.
Yeah.
And we ask for more crosses. We want more crosses into the box. That's what we all grew up on. That's what we all our idols. We want Dom having 6 or 7 of those headers, because you know 6 or 7 he'll score one. And we're not getting
Or
that.
he'll cause havoc.
Lean into what works. What doesn't work is having a 38-year-old, and I'm not having a go at Aston. I think he was a really good signing, and I think he's really good to go into different positions when he's needed. But when the guy's there to replace him, you replace him. You don't start games at home with two holding midfielders, because that's what Garner and Garner are. They are 2 holding midfielders.
They're just busy midfielders.
Busy lads, and let's get it right. Idrissa Gana Gueye is well better than the other one at doing it. Well better. Like, he's got all that experience. He's got Mbappe watching us, for God's sake. He is well better at doing that job. You've got to make the tough calls. You've got to bring Onana back into the team.
This shouldn't be tough though. This is the thing, and this, I think, where I agree with what you said there is, I go back to the end of last season where Dyche, rightly said it's going to be tough. We've got, we can't get kind of be above ourselves. It's beyond ourselves. It's going to be small steps. Totally get that. The dose of realism. It almost feels like he's not gone full Allardyce. Allardyce, I always have this with Allardyce. Allardyce could have done fine for Everton for 2 years if he'd have just had the humility.
If he got out of his own way.
To get out of his own way. Dyche did it a bit last year with Keane. He couldn't get out of his own way. He did it. Branthwaite should have started from the start of the season. There was absolutely no reason for him not to be in. But Dyche couldn't get out of his own way with Michael Keane, and we lost 2 games. I'm not saying because of Michael Keane. It was in the Villa game. It didn't help. But it's almost like he's gone, no, this is what you get with me. And this is why maybe I'm just a bit hesitant to like fully say that. Is that just because the points deduction? And if we were on 30 points now, would we be seeing him trying to kind of set down routes? I don't know if we would.
But we're not on 30 points.
But we're not.
And that has to be, that's a key thing. No, we're not on 30 points.
To get us away, to get us where we want to be, he's got to start doing things differently.
We're not on 30 points, we're on 20 points. We should be on 30 points, but we're not. And we're never gonna get the points back. We might get a few back, but we're never. The reality of the situation is, we are on 20 points. We are joint, same points with Luton. That's where we are. Surely he's got to look at that and go, I'm at home. We've won 3 Premier League games.
What I do doesn't work.
I have to change something. I have to say to these players, go out there and in the first 15 minutes get these people off their seats, because that will carry through. Because what unfortunately happens at Goodison Park, and we all know it, we all know this, is if you let teams settle down in the first 15 minutes, the crowd will just go, here we go again. And we just don't have enough. People can keep on trying to get the fan base to do whatever. It just won't work. We are the way we are. We are beaten down. We are waiting for the points thing to come in. We are waiting for an ownership to come in, which either way just feels whatever. We are beaten down. We're not suddenly going to become this fan base that is going to introduce all kinds. We've tried everything. We are too worn down by whatever. I was thinking about this the other day when people bring that stupid thing out and they say like, Everton are the only team that have not won something or been relegated or been promoted. It's like, and it's so clear. We are so bored. We are so bored of our football team and the problems that it creates out of thin air at times. Like, Everton have been quiet for a few days. What are we going to do? It's like, We are so beaten down from it by this idea that we're all going to go to the match on a Monday night, where I want to be sitting down eating me soup and watching Bleeding Silent Witness. In reality, is like we're all going to be bouncing around like lunatics. It's fucking nonsense. Do something that for the first 15 minutes gets us going.
Yeah.
And so that the three sides of the ground that are sitting down are suddenly not. And they're like, you're going, you sitting me? Ashley Young picking up the ball and running like me down a hill with a bad knee isn't going to get anyone going.
I reckon you've got. I don't think Ashley.
I'll be honest, mate. I am faster than Ashley Young. I know I'm faster than Ashley Young. I'm putting it out there. He'll be a better footballer, of course he is. But there's got to be just something where the manager says to these players, lads, you've got to get this fan base going.
Do you know? I think there's a good example of us actually doing that in a home game early this season was against Newcastle. That even though the quality wasn't there in the first half, the intensity was there from the off, and Newcastle were tired, and eventually it told. Why can't that intensity be there every home game? Like, go back to the Luton game. Obviously, ended up being a really dreadful performance, but the first half an hour, Everton were all over them. Or first 20 minutes, and they go and concede 2 sloppy goals. Now, where was that intensity yesterday? Like, but again, doesn't pick the player that can set the tempo, and I do think it's worth with. Bringing up Onana. I don't know if it's stereotyping. I don't know if it's just he does certain things that go over people's heads a bit, and I don't want to come across as like, oh, I know better than you or anything like that. Everyone's got different opinions on football, but I like James Garner, but he's been far better with Amadou Onana, and Amadou Onana is. We just know he's just the best possession player. We've got everything backs it up. Your eyes back it up. The stats back it up. But it's because we think James Garner's come from Man United. It's all this thing of like, he's a busy midfielder, he gets about. Lampard thought he could play the number 6 role, which he never could do. Like, I don't know why why the manager is stuck with like, when you need to run a game, you've got to have your one player there who can do it. We aren't blessed for it in this squad, are we?
And he's made a decision there last night. He's dropped Harrison. Made the decision. It's a tough decision. He's gone with it, and
like it backfired. But fair dues.
Why wouldn't you do that with James Garner? Why wouldn't you just go, this is not the game for him? We'll sit him down. We've got a bit of freshness back. He's played a lot of games recently. James Garner. He's had a tough season. We're going to sit him down for this game. It'll be really important in the coming weeks. What's wrong with that?
And I think he got better, James Garner, when Onana came on at the end.
Because you don't need 2 people at home running around after the ball.
Yeah. Especially when they're only playing 2.
They do nothing. They didn't do anything. And I'm not having a go at Palace. They've got all their best players are out. All their best players are out, of course. Did you hear their reaction from their crowd when the final whistle went? They were absolutely delighted with the draw. Like, they were absolutely made up with the draw.
Unexpected draw for them.
It was like, that was the game last night. We're like, not being funny, if they'd gone anywhere with anything last night, they'd get beat 3 or 4-0, no problem. And they would have gone home.
They'd have gone through a decent side or a normal side.
They would have just gone, that's the way it is. We've got no manager. We've got half of our best players.
They'd be ready then,
they went to Brighton the other week and Brighton destroyed them. They just, because of the way they play. And people can sit round all they want and go, Dyche's done brilliantly. He has not done brilliantly at Goodison Park. They are facts. 7 wins. They are facts. 21 games. And I'm not gonna create a viral video here, by the way. But they are facts, aren't they? 3 home wins. We have not beaten anyone this season at home that we had more possession in. Bournemouth are a possession side. And we kept on nicking the ball high off them, and that's how we scored.
And they were playing really poorly at the time.
And they were playing poorly. Newcastle, again, we jumped on their mistakes and we done them, and we deserved to do them. And Chelsea exactly the same. Chelsea had something like 75% possession, if I remember rightly.
When did the Chelsea game start to turn in our favour? When he brought Onana on at half time? Because we needed someone to get hold of the ball.
So we've not beaten anyone this season that we should have beaten in terms of like, we're going to have more possession. We've beaten sides that we can play our style of football, which is counter-attacking. Something has to change, because we are playing teams now where everyone will go, you've got to win this, you've got to win this.
Yeah.
He said himself, didn't he? He said himself in his aftermatch thing, the expectation was different.
I'm sure he wants to do it, doesn't he?
The expectation is different at home. Away, like you said, he's done his issues at home. Away from home, since he come in, he managed to get the team together. And barring 3 or 4 games since he's been here, away, we've been competitive, we've done quite well. We don't have the ball, we carry a threat. But at Goodison...
But there's a word there that you just said, expectation. The expectation between Everton fans and Burnley fans are two completely separate animals. They just are. Every time, every time, and maybe we're too close to it, but every time you hear players talking about it, Conor Cody said to you, Everton are just, as a club, incredibly huge in terms of the teams I've played for. I heard Phil Jagielka say on an interview over the weekend, someone Koeman going, I don't think he realised how big a club Everton are. They expect 10,000 people yesterday trying to get tickets for the derby, where you know exactly what's going to happen, right? The waiting list, tickets for the new stadium, everything. People say we are nuts, right? We can't. Haven't backed it up, of course.
Mbappe's a fan, you know.
Of course he is. And Messi doesn't want to watch it just because he feels sorry for us.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah.
We are. There is an expectation, and that's what goes back to this thing I was saying before about like not winning anything or not being. We are a fan base who are just. It doesn't matter how many times we are. We are absolutely at the end of our rope. But at the same time, keep coming back for more and keep coming back for more. And our away end will always be sold out, and our home games will all be sold out. And if the away fans don't sell their tickets, we'll take them off them. We are just absolute, and I just don't believe anyone else would have this in them. I just don't believe it. I watch Man City games, and I'm not. We never criticise a ground for being empty because of economics and everything else. But they can't fill their ground. I can't imagine if we'd had their success, what we'd be doing with their.
Be mad.
We just keep coming back and coming back.
Won 4 games in a row, and a song went to #1.
And unfortunately, right, and this is another problem with it. The players we have can't match the expectations of us as a fan base. They turn around and they go, this place should be bouncing. Why should it be bouncing when you can't play 5-yard passes? Why should it be bouncing when you've won 3 home games all season and we're being told that our season tickets next season are going up and you want us to buy this fancy fucking box with a few bits in it for 75 quid? Do you know what I mean? It's like, but we will, because we're stupid and we keep coming back. And you say you can't deal with a few boos at Goodison Park. I'm sick of hearing that from our players. There is expectation, but there's also prestige about playing for Everton Football Club. You should be honoured that your name is in the roll of honour playing for this football club. It should be up there with Carl Tyler and Mitch Wolf, I can't say. Players in play for it. But I'm sick. And all we expect, by the way, all we expect as fans is for you to go out and run around like idiots for 90 minutes, and you can't even do that for us this time. And then you walk off the pitch and wonder why we walk out going, what the shit have we just watched there? And yet we all go out and we're all like, oh mate, good to see you, blah blah blah. Oh, it's great, great to see you. And instantly those burdens of the match are almost forgotten. And the next day we're cutting it to bits, but it's like Brighton next, and no one even knows when that Merseyside derby's going to be, and people are like, oh, I want a ticket. Oh, I've got to be there. Of course, we're mad, and we're getting fed this shit, and it's like people have completely forgot what our expectations of Everton fans is, and it's not winning trophies. It's not going on 15-game runs of winning games. What it is players going out there and going, I will dig in for this football club. I will win the first tackle and I'll win the second tackle. And I will, if we go long, I'll back up the centre forward and make sure I'm there. It's mad.
I think, I don't think we can. I think what Dyche has done well, he's got that effort there, hasn't he? Like, I don't think we'd ever look at these players as being lazy. But just like they said, that lack of intensity that was there from the start last night, from the selection through to leaked onto the players, leaked from the fans. It's just like an entire lack of thing, and it sums up with Dom chasing his own flick down, doesn't it? Because no one else was when he had 3 players near him standing still, and it's only when we went a goal down that they finally woke up.
See, I don't understand this. We'll get back onto the game now, but I don't understand the long ball to Dom, and I said this before, Decore not running beyond him.
17 out of 20 headers he won last night.
If I'm playing with Dom, that ball's knocked, I'm thinking he's won this, and I'm just running beyond him, because if he gets the flick, I'm in on goal. Decore waits, and I don't know whether that might be an instruction.
Well, it doesn't in away games,
if we're playing,
generally speaking.
But if we're playing that way, we should have Decore running beyond them. One of our 2 midfielders should be dropping into the pocket. So if he does knock it down there on it, and our 2 wide players should be. I've got no, like we said before, we're not talking about playing out. Everton fans don't like playing out from the back. They didn't like it last night.
No.
Some of the Arsenal, I mean, we do it spectacularly, that we knock it down and it goes back to Pickford anyway, and he just kicks it. So it's a waste of time. But we try to buy into that, but we want intensity. You know, and I think we want a little bit more than they just run around, because we should want a bit more than that. But you're right, there's no demand for trophies. Hopefully, in the future, you'd get better, and then that would be a nice step. But right now, I want to go to match with Zach and him see Everton win 9 or 10 home games a season. Half your own games, that's not a lot. And it's not that every year.
And it isn't about, but that, again, it's not about the style of play. No, it's about going after games.
But just be intense and knock it. No, City will always be better than us, knocking it round. And others, Arsenal play great football. We get wide and get crosses in and have shots somewhere here, there, and everywhere, and people are uncomfortable coming. Evertonians will feed on that energy, but when it's flat and we're knocking 50, 60, 70 yard balls, and Dom is having to run after his own flick on. That to me just goes, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And he's got to solve that, the manager. He's got it away from home, like I said, no issues coming. He's done a really good job there. We're compact, we're tight within a game. But at home, he's over a year in and he's not been able to solve it. He won 4 home games last season as a manager, and he's won 3 this season. And we've got 5 games that are winnable.
What do we go? We went from
and we'll
March.
probably have to win 5 of them.
Went from March till when? December. March to December. We only beat Bournemouth at home. We beat them twice. Between March last year and December this year.
No, I think of that because we beat Bournemouth twice.
That's what I said. But we only
beat Bournemouth twice. Sorry, we had 2 home wins from March till December. And they were Bournemouth twice. Sorry, jumped in there. No, you're right.
I mean, it's not just the home form before that, like I said before, but it's just you've got to do something different now. He's got to try it because his approach isn't working at home. His evidence is there.
Right, great.
But that's where the subs are. At half time, whether it's pantomime, whether it's playing to the crowd, you've got to look at the game and go, There's got to be a reaction. I need to inject something. Yeah. I need to show the team. I need to show this fan base that
I see what they're seeing.
I see what they're seeing, and that's not always. Don't get me wrong. That's not always the right thing. But you have to say, well, this place is flat.
Yeah.
Why is it flat? Because we're not on the ball. We're not moving forward. You bring going hard on them because that's what your plans to do anyway. I don't like criticising him because I think the overall job is like what he's trying to do is the right thing. And if you'd say 30 points from the team we had, you'd go, he's done a good job. Yeah. But right now, you just think, what more can you, surely you can get more out of this team. Surely you can just say to them, put these to bed in the first half. Put them to bed. Get out there. Fucking get into them and put them to bed. Because, you know, and because we'll deal with them at the back. Fine, we've got 2 top centre backs playing for us. We've got a right back who could be playing in the NFL. We've got a left back who can get married and still come and play well, 2 days later. Do you know what I mean? Still got the energy. Fair play to you. The back 4 sort, you've got a holding midfielder, or 2, who can do the job as well. It's almost like fear is stopping us. Crystal Palace with none of their best players. Come on.
Yeah. We're going to have to go after teams and they're going to have to solve it.
But what we don't want to do is get to that point where it's like those home games become must wins.
Yeah,
they should never be must wins.
We're already at must wins.
But that's the thing, isn't it? And now, where's your wiggle room? We've got a great. Well, what if we don't win another away game this season?
Yeah.
Because actually, all our away games now are against top sides.
Yep. And Luton, which
will be horrible.
Yep. Because that's the best thing. They've got intensity at that little tight ground. They're all up for it and they're intense. Yeah.
That's what, going back to my original point, was that Luton have created a situation where no one wants to go to their ground because everyone knows it's going to be horrible.
Forest did it last year. To an extent.
Forest did at the City ground. That home form.
You create an illusion.
We've got to do it.
This is a place to go.
Yeah.
Horrible going to go. I keep on hearing managers saying,
the only time that Everton have done it in recent years was the end of the season in 21-22 with the Blue Smoke, and actually it was 3 games. One of them we lost, One of them we won
We
because
shouldn't have lost
Pickford made an but we still deserved to get the point. That was where it started. And then the other one we were 2-0 down and it was just a mad 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it never worked, but we created that illusion that, there'll be blue smoke and it's
we
all
went after
that.
Palace, didn't we? We didn't go after them last night. And then Lampard, ironically, beat Palace twice by going after them twice.
Yeah, making changes at half time.
And we went after them in the away game earlier this season.
Yeah, weird.
And he made sub at half time.
We brought Onana, we went behind. And then Onana did get on the ball and we got a bit more control and we had we looked like we might get something, and Don, lovely little cushion there at the back, and he'd missed a good chance off McNeil's cross. He should have scored, he headed it wide, and then he laid it back, and Garner should have probably scored.
He tries to side foot it
instead
of just
a good save, but from the corner, great ball in from McNeil and a great header from Onana. Very Burnley away, one at the same goal.
Yeah. Or Tarkowski at Brentford. And, McNeil got it spot on and Onana just storms in, doesn't he?
Ironically, at that point, you're thinking the injury time coming up, we might win. Because it was the only time we really had a bit of intensity, but it only lasted a few minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it lasted so much. We got a free kick and Tarkowski should have scored the ball in. He's got a header at the back post that he has to score with, and he heads it over. And even though the ball done up for 6 minutes and the crowd are lively,
they kept it in the corner for 4 minutes.
We didn't really. We had opportunities to put balls in and we wasted it by hesitating. People not making runs and us having to turn back on it as if we had all the time in the world. And then the thing that done my head in, and it probably wouldn't have made much difference, was Ben Godfrey wasting 40 seconds taking a throw in because he wouldn't go to where the referee was telling him to go to take the throw. And it ends up, we give the throw in. I wish we get a throw in, coach. We give the throw in away. And they have the ball. And I'm like, these were what, there's probably the only time.
Could you tell we were terrified not to give a call?
Yeah.
Absolutely
I was saying that, because I'm fully expecting it. I can't believe we didn't give one. We always have done. We've always done our special set piece giveaway, haven't we?
We've talked about, we'll look at plays in a minute, but we've talked about obviously the set piece. We've scored 27 goals this season. 14 of them have been from set pieces. And you've got some data, Pat, to have a look at with XG and stuff. So Ned's going to put them on screen now if you want to talk us through it.
So we've got the set pieces. We've got the set piece XG. So Everton actually lead the league in set piece XG, so 16.5. Got 14 goals from those set pieces. So look, I don't think we're only behind Arsenal in that regard. This is non-penalty as well, obviously for Everton, but it is for the other teams as well. So, I mean, look at that, 5 better than the Arsenal, way overperforming their set piece XG, 7 goals. Everton 5 more than the next best in Brentford. That's fantastic. That is really, really good. We are full credit to the team because we were pretty inept at set pieces under Lampard and Benitez, and we were good at them under Ancelotti. So they've really obviously clearly identified that as a key thing. The issue is it does seem to be our only plan. But then if we go to corners in specifically as well, corners, we lead the league again in XG, 10.4, and again we're only behind Arsenal with 10 goals from. Arsenal got 11 goals, we've got 10 goals from corners.
Kind of doing what we should do with
that, so fair enough, exactly. We're fantastic. What we can say is we're very good from set pieces, but in particularly corners we are excellent from. But then open play, and this is where the big issue comes. So the way we've got it, Everton that's like a mini league of the bottom 8 in the Premier League for open play XG. So Everton will be 13th, 24.5, which over the season look middle of the road side, aren't we? This is open play XG. We haven't got the stats up here, but what I have done, and I'm doing a big piece for Opta Analyst on this week, is that open play XG is massively weighted towards the first half of the season, in the sense of well over half of it, 14.5 of it, nearly, is from the first 13 games of the season. The last 12 games, which includes the 4 games that we won in December, we're way down at 10. Across 10 XG from those 12 games. So So what we're saying there is we are a middle of the road team, obviously, in the open play XG, but we're performing right down at the bottom for actually converting those chances.
Well, 24.5 to
13 goals is dreadful, and it's been significantly drying up since around the start of December, which it's reflected if you watch the performance. If you go back, apart from Newcastle, I think from the start of December we've now scored 5 or 6 goals tops in that run in the league from open play. It's not good enough. So yeah, fantastic that we're great at set pieces. And on one hand, you can say that no one's learning how to stop us at set pieces. That's fine. But look what happened at Man City. We didn't get a corner.
Yeah.
And look, there's not many teams that you don't get corners against. But that was our plan, and we didn't get a corner. So what do you do when that doesn't happen?
Get beat.
Yep.
Don't score. Open play is clearly the problem, and it's what we're going to have to work on. And that is patterns of play. That is crossing it in the right areas, not crossing it 30 yards outside the penalty area higher and expecting Don to do what with, I don't know.
Or when there's just him in the box.
Or if he's in the box, what's he to put?
Yep.
It's a real issue, and it's one that they've got to work out, particularly at Goodison Park, because it's just not good enough. Two players who I thought had good games last night. Idrissa Gana-Gueye, let's have a look at his stats. From the game, 53 touches, 5 tackles, 1 interception. Duels, won 7 out of 10 of his duels and had an 86% passing accuracy. And you can see his heat map there. I thought he was everywhere for us. And I was a bit surprised when he went off.
Yeah, I think we saw Renana have maybe 34 touches, I think, in his time on the pitch, and Garner there 53. And I'm not saying Garner had Idrissa Gueye had a bad game, but you're showing the level of influence, because obviously there's a bit of game state there. We needed to get on the ball more, but Garner doesn't want to necessarily get on the ball. He just wants to hassle, win it back, and give it. Except he's giving it to someone who's doing exactly the same job.
Thing, yeah. You can't actually say. I mean,
neither of them had a bad
James
game.
Garner didn't really have a bad game.
I just don't think he
but they're not,
did anything.
They're not doing anything that we need them to do, because they're both doing the same job.
But the problem with this team, for me, and it's reflected in the goals, and goals keep you up, really. It's everything set out from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
So Dwight McNeil does a good job in front of Michalenko. He helps out, really does. But he's not scoring goals at the other end. Jack Harrison has got, 3 goals and 4 assists or something. Works his socks off in front of the right back. At least Jack Harrison, and that was the one thing we noticed when he come on, at least he runs towards the goal. His first thought is get in the box, where McNeil isn't. It's slow down and pass it back and look for space. But everything is built, James Garner, Idrissa Gana-Gueye, it's built for the defensive side of the game. It's only
a fantastic defensive player.
When you look at it like that, you're relying on Decore and Dom. Because what you're saying is both, and Ashley Young hasn't scored a goal. Right? So you're looking and going,
good one.
Burnley.
Oh, yeah, in the Premier League.
Yep.
We're looking at it and going, okay, Lewis Dobbin's got 1 off the bench. So there's your front players. And Dan Zuma has got 2-1 in the league and won the cup. But your front players, the chief supplier of the chief people who are going to score your goals are 2 players in your team. 8 outfield players are there to keep you tight. But the problem is, when you're down there, is that it'll be the team that can get goals will stay up. Now, okay, Everton, I still think we'll be all right, but it'll be tight, and it'll be tighter than it should be, and we're going to need points back, and we need some things to go our way. But that is the fundamental problem, and yet I honestly think we could turn that a little bit if the brakes were taken off them. I think everything at Goodison needs to be. I understand Liverpool at home, you're gonna sit back. Arsenal, City, Tottenham, even you're gonna have to be cautious and try to spring it. I get that, no issue with it, really. We done it to Chelsea.
I don't
they
think
had
we
all
were
the ball.
cautious against Spurs.
But what I mean,
we played it.
You're thinking
with intensity.
You're thinking they're gonna have a lot of the ball. We'll be intense to take it. I get all that, but where the flip is gonna be for me is all the other 5 games. Like West Ham, really, Everton should beat them. They're on good form. They haven't got loads of goals in the team. The problem Everton will have is West Ham don't want the ball either. So it'll be that thing again, a bit like last night, which you actually want it. It was like that when we went there.
Yeah.
It was like, we don't want it, and they didn't really want it, and we went and nicked the game. But the other games, they were going to come, Sheffield United will be a free game for them. They'll be relegated by then. So that. But Forest, which would be there for the taking, but how do we play that? Burnley will be wide open. I think that'll be the game we definitely win, because they'll just be wide open. But then if you don't take chances, you're vulnerable. Brentford will be wide open because they are, but then if you leave the back door open, they've got Tony. Luckily for us, Mopai can't play, but they've got Tony.
And Brentford, I mean, we did score ironically two set pieces against Brentford early in the season, but Brentford, with us, the best time at both attacking and defensive.
Well, the first one was a secondary set piece.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
they all,
yeah.
But so, you're right. No, but you're right. Yeah. But it's the freedom in us scoring goals. So it's when I look at it and see 27 goals in 25 games, I'm not surprised because 8 of our players are set there to defend. Whereas other teams, you look, it's almost like a 5-5, or it's 6-4. Really, you've got 6 there, and the better teams are 2-3, 2 and 8, aren't they? And but where we should be at, we're 6-4.
I mean, the best team in the land, Man City, in terms of when they're on the game, they're brilliant defensively. But it's all about pressure and work rate and getting it back straight away, and that's obviously a different type. I'm not expecting them to be.
No, but we could be
Pep Guardiola's side,
and we do. We press as well as most teams.
Yeah, we're right up there.
So why aren't we doing that just against a team like this? Why aren't we fast and furious against the team like this?
I think this is we can be fast and furious, but the issue is last night at least Palace knew that and they just got the ball forward. So then who's the ones that are being fast and furious? Then they kind of bypass the first line of press.
Okay, so
this is what I mean. We need to.
But I would counter that then, right, and say, okay, they get the ball forward. They had one strike, and a lot of times he was there to just lean on Branthwaite and stuff. But we get it back. So we want to do the same because we're not really going to play through midfield.
Oh no, that's what we didn't.
So when we're doing the same, we should have our 2 wingers getting ready to get round Dom, and we should have Decore getting ready to go. And one of our midfielders should be breaking, and then we've still got 5 players at the back. We're never getting sprung by Palace ever because they haven't got Eze, and at least saying Eze, it's a different. It's a different. But we didn't. We just still stayed in a shape where Dom was on his own.
Yeah. And I fully agree.
And that's the frustration, and I guess that to me. That's what Sean Dyche has got to solve, this conundrum. He's got to do it quickly. He really has.
We're running out of games, aren't we? So.
Games are going. Let's have a look at James Tarkowski, who was excellent again last night. No surprise there. Despite awful rumours, he was fine. 5 clearances, 2 tackles, 5 interceptions, won 11 of his 15 duels at an 83% pass accuracy, despite him having to be one of our main creators with switches and knocking it forward. Heat map there, and had over 100 touches, did you say, as well?
Touches, yeah,
just there. So a frustrating night after all. The stats will let's have a look at them as well before we finish. 19 attempts at goal for Everton, 10 for Palace, 4 each on target, 4 big chances for Everton, 1 for Crystal Palace. And the stat that tells you why Everton didn't win the game: 63% of the ball. And is it right, Everton still haven't won a game under Sean Dyche going behind?
Yeah. So I think it's only this and Spurs that we've even combined to get anything this season from behind. So I mean, at least there's that. At least we're.
But the last 2 games we've scored late on to get points at home, so at least they keep going.
Yeah,
that's
they keep going.
The manager hasn't.
Definitely, there's a resilience there, isn't there? And we have to give. I think all of us give credit to Dyche for quite a lot. It's just this thing that's lacking now, and it's clearly lacking. And it's this my always thing with him as a manager as well, and a lot of managers. You've got to add that other bit to your game, and it's not because I want to see fancy football. It's because this stuff, whatever it is, isn't working at home. So it has to change, or we won't win home games.
Keep it away, by all means, because it's good away. Yeah, it's good, it works. But at home, we have got to include the crowd.
I mean, we do special teams with everything else. Why can't we have special teams for home and away? Like, just get another manager in to manage home games and see what Moyes is up to. He'll be binned off in 2 weeks. Job share.
Job share, imagine. No, he's just got to come up. That's the next thing for him to get right, but he's got to do quickly because we've got another home game in 12 days, and it's one that we do have to win. We really do. And who knows, we might go to Brighton and repeat last season, and then this point will look a lot better if we beat Brighton. But that'll be a hugely difficult game because they look like they're back in the rhythm now, don't they? Yeah. Playing well. There you go. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. You're frustrated with it? Is it 2 points drop? Is it a point gained because we were behind in the game? But we are going to need points back from this appeal, I think, at least to make us feel a bit more comfortable with everything. Let us know what you think. We're going to carry on over on Toffee TV Premier. Now, if you want to join that, the link is in the description. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you later.